This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by Dave Coldwell over Zoom. Dave, how are you? How was your Christmas?
I'm very good, thanks, mate. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been a nice Christmas, nice time with the family. So yeah, all good. What about you?
It's good. We had a brief chat there off camera. Just nice to be back home with family, friends, ahead of what will be rather another busy 2023, as always is the boxing schedule, as you will know. So before we come on to what's coming up, let's just reflect for yourself first on 2022, Dave. Some highs, some lows. Just your point from what's gone on in your gym. How would you reflect on everything?
Yeah, strange all year for me, to be honest. The highest of the highs, Jordan Gill winning the European title. You know, European title's massive title, meant a lot to him. And the circumstances, how the fight evolved and everything, such an incredible high. But you forget that that's this year, because you see what came towards the end of the year, and that was the biggest of the lows, really. So yeah, a bit of an up and downer. Obviously the disappointment of what happened with Lerrone's career for 2022. But then, the positives are Stephen Cairns is now 4-0, exciting prospect I've got, young kid, great backing. His career is getting nice momentum there. Hopey Price, again, another outstanding year for him. So his progress and his career is moving along lovely. 2023 is going to be a massive year. It's a massive year, full stop. Anyway, but I know everybody always says that, but it is going to be a big year for us. A massive year for Hope Price. Massive year for Jordan. He's got to come back and kickstart his career again. And Lerrone's just got to fight. So 2023's got a lot of potential. And then who knows what else happens in the? You never know in boxing. It's a weird one. Yes, it is a weird one. Um, I go back to Lerrone. I think this time last year we just come off the Gongora win, and you think that 2022 is going to be a brilliant year, a massive year, and nothing's happened, nothing's gone forward. So that shows you the disappointments you can have in boxing. But I've been in the game for 32 years. I've managed to train fighters since '96. It's like I've seen it all before, where there's ups and downs, and it's boxing. It's part of the sport. It's how it always will be. Doesn't matter whether you're at the top end or if you're at the lower end of the sport. You just got to keep going forward and keep doing what you can to keep progressing. And you will have some years that aren't so great, and you'll have some years that are bouncing and fantastic. It's just how it is.
Dave, let's just start with Jordan before we move on. As you mentioned, mixed emotions ending unfortunately on that low with a Kiko Martinez defeat. How has he been since then, and how much more difficult will it be for him to come back from this fight as opposed to the Tinoco fight, or would you not agree with that?
Um, how has it been? It was rough. It was tough, as you would expect, because there are certain fighters where the paths are a little bit more easier and fortunate than others. And Jordan's not in that category. He's in the latter, where he's in the others. He's had a hard old career. Even when he was performing outstanding and getting great wins over like people like Bellotti and Juarez and Ryan Doyle, but things are just kind of like there's always things that are in a stumbling block. He had a bad year where he was ill. Had a thyroid issue where we didn't think he was going to box again, and then he's bounced back and he's ended up winning a European title, which was absolutely outstanding and fantastic for him. For it all to go tits up in the next fight, which was very very disappointing and heartbreaking. But also what you get with fighters that come up and have a lot of hardships, inactivities, injuries, illnesses, career stalling, there becomes a resilience about them, and a a loss or a bump in the road and a a downturn doesn't affect him, or not affect him, but doesn't finish him in the way that some kids who have things quite easy and everything everything maps out from perfectly almost, and then have a bad defeat. Sometimes that can crush him, and it can crush him quite a long time, and it's hard to come back from it. It's down to the fighter, what he wants to do, how his mentality is, how does that he let that affect him. And in Jordan, he's we've had a good chat. He's had a good time out and come away from boxing, so to speak, and try and gather his thoughts in that respect without thinking about going to the gym, without thinking about another fight. And he's as determined as ever he was, and he wants to get back up there. Let's not forget as well, it's not like he's had a crushing defeat at domestic level. He's become European champion. He's won the Commonwealth title. He's won a WBA international a couple of times. He's become European champion. These are outstanding achievements, and there's a lot of very, very good fighters out there who never became good enough to become European champion. Never won them that sort of title. And Jordan has. So he needs to kind of give himself credit for what he's achieved in his career. And I think in this day and age, it seems like a lot of people, even people within sport, they don't acknowledge or don't give enough credit to somebody becoming a British champion. Don't give enough credit for somebody becoming a Commonwealth champion. Certainly don't give enough credit to somebody becoming a European champion. It's all about, when you turn pro, you've got to be a world champion. You've got to be a world champion. It's not that easy, mate. Boxing's a tough game, and it's not always just about how talented you are, how good you are. There's a lot of other factors in there as well, and they all have to come together. And on that fight night, it's got to all work in your favor. But then you look at other fighters, and you look at people like your Lee Woods and people like that. I go back to my days with like Johnny Nelson, George Groves, and where they have big hiccups along the way, and people say, "Oh, he's got no chance. He's never going to do this. He's never going to do that." And then look at where they are. Look at Lee Woods. When Lee lost to Jazza, how many people thought he was going to go on the run that he's gone on? All of a sudden he becomes British champion. The next minute he's world champion. Now he's in one of the elite in the division. So you never know in boxing. It's about what you believe and what you're willing to put in. So there's, while ever somebody's in the sport, it's very, very hard to say, right, I'm off and say, oh, he's never going to achieve this, he's never going to achieve that. But also, they've got to kind of like take the pressure off themselves and think that, yes, we all want to become world champion, but kind of like don't put too much pressure on yourself that that's the be all and end all. You've got to kind of like understand and acknowledge your achievements on the way, because I don't feel as though we celebrate success as we're going on. Kid wins an area title, kid wins an English title, a British title. They need to celebrate and acknowledge what they've done, because what you tend to do is you win this title and you're thinking about the next one straight away. You're thinking about the next fight. You win this 8th round, you're thinking about the next fight. You're not kind of like giving yourself the credit and enjoying the success along the way, because when you have a bump in the road or when you have a defeat, you blow that up to be massive, and that kind of like your brain absorbs that, and you become occupied with that so much. You give so much small thought to a loss or the bad times in sport than what you actually do appreciate and enjoy the good moments and the successes in the sport. And that's why I think sometimes when you're talking about happiness, depression, mental stability or instability, sometimes that can have a factor in not actually giving yourself credit or not enjoying the good moments in what you do as well.
Dave, just moving away from Jordan, obviously looking towards Lerrone, what you'll hope will be a much more active 2023. How quickly should we expect to see him back in there? I imagine there's actually fights for one you want to get on immediately, and then moving forwards onto bigger and better fights, provided he comes through the Chelly fight unscathed.
Yeah, he's basically been told that he had to have a rest, health wise, have a rest, recharge, and we've been told not to look for him to box again until March. So it's just delays. I mean, we was hoping to be out in February, for the Chelly fight, but obviously, passing out, isn't a good thing. You have to make sure that everything's right. If the tests have come back fine, everything's fine, but then obviously he needs to rest. And also the mental aspect. This has been hard for Lerrone. I mean, he's I've known him for quite a while now. We're very close in the gym, and it's for all the bumps he's had and all the delays he's had, and now his career's not gone great. This is the first time where I've seen it, have an effect. This because he's about to fight. Everything's done. He's about to fight. He's back. Big platform, and then it's not. It's all for nothing. And so, of course, there's upset. There's mentally down and feel like shit about it. So you kind of need to get yourself. He's sacrificing a year. If he doesn't see his son much because of his training and stuff like that. All that for nothing. So he's spending a bit of time with his son and obviously recharging himself, and he'll be back in March. And then obviously anything's a bonus compared to 2022, but it has to come back with a good 2023, a big 2023.
And then moving forwards once again, you mentioned young Mr. Ali there, recently teamed up with Matchroom as well. Talk to me about him, what everybody should expect from him.
Just listen, it's a baby. He's like literally only just 18. So what I don't want is I don't want him rushed. I don't want people judging him. Oh, he's this. He's a good kid. He's got a lot of potential. A great kid, great character. I've said before, he's confident, not arrogant. He's flash but not cocky. He ticks a lot of boxes, and he's got a great attitude in the gym. So fast, blinding speed. Can punch as well. You're gonna enjoy his progress. He's got a lot of potential, but it's a slow burner. I said Sam Jones manages him. Spoke with Sam and I said, look, he's a baby. He's not one of these kids that I want. After 5-6 fights, they're talking about this title, that title. No, slow burner. He's 18 years old. I just want him to develop, because if he's allowed to develop, he's going to be a great fighter. Very, very good fighter. Which is a good job, because with that name, he's going to be under some serious pressure. But it is what it is.
Dave, just moving forward and away from your gym, just in general, what's been your highlight of the year in terms of a fighter coming through, or a certain fight which sticks to mind? What was the highlight of 2022?
Well, my personal highlight is obviously Jordan's win over Guerfeit, but away from the gym, Lee Wood. The story continues with Lee. I know I don't manage Lee now, but the Conlon fight was the last one, and I'm very proud of what Lee's achieved. But that fight, especially there, to support him, was an unbelievable night, an unbelievable win, and it just showed everything about Lee Wood, what he is, about his career, how he's had, the shit times, the hard times where it doesn't look like it's going to work for him. The fight looked like it weren't going to work out for him, and then he sticks at it and he keeps believing in himself, and he gets a knockout at the end. Again, like his career, he ended up becoming world champion and doing what he's doing because of his grit and his stubbornness, and not refusing to listen to other people, thinking that he's not going to achieve what he's achieved. It's a great story because now he's in a great position financially, where he can look after his kids and give his kids a good life. And he's been that kid that was struggling, sacrificing everything. So yeah, Lee Wood Conlon is a big highlight for me.
Dave, he's obviously been upgraded to the super champion as well now, Lee, and it
But
looks like, yeah, a lot of people would agree with that statement as well there, Dave. But it looks like he'll face Maurizio Lara next, and it was one which turned eyebrows simply because it is a very dangerous fight, and there were more maybe lucrative rewarding fights back here in the UK with just his title to defend here, whether it been a Josh Warrington or the Michael Conlan rematch, which was spoken about. How does Lee go about if it is Maurizio Lara defeating him?
um, smart but aggressive. I think Lee's got the tools, the ability, and the power to knock Lara out. But Lara's a very, very tough man, and he punches really, really hard. And we all know what kind of style he's got. The thing about with Lara is that you know what he's going to do, and so you can prepare for that. And like I said, Lee punches really, really hard himself. So Lara's liable to run onto something. And his boxing IQ's increased massively over the last couple of years since he's been working with Ben. They've gelled together really well. There's complete trust in each other there, and the improvements he's shown is massive. And I do think that Lee will knock out Lara, but I think while it lasts, it's going to be exciting. Your bum's going to be twitching. It's one of those fights. It's a great, great fight. A great fight.
Franco-Ioka on New Year's Eve. Will you be trying to find a way to watch it, Dave?
If you want me to be honest, probably not because I've got kids and we're gonna go out for a meal New Year's Eve and then we'll be chilling together. So yeah, probably not to be honest. But that's a good one. That is a very, very good fight.
It is indeed. And just looking towards what's been announced on a UK front and the boxing schedule for next year, just to kick things off, Eubank Jr. Smith, a terrific fight as we get edge ever closer. Dave, what are your thoughts on it?
I can't wait. It's a really good fight. When that was announced, I was like, wow, that is good fight. That is a good fight. Coming off the disappointment for Eubank Jr., that's got to be a great fight for him to mentally stimulate him and to be excited about. I know he's talking about Mr. 50, 60% or whatever percentage is on right now, but he'll be up for that fight, and it's a fight that'll get his juices going, no doubt. But from a fan's perspective, it can't fail to deliver. Liam Smith is proven. He's an exciting fighter. He's looking to put pressure on you from round one, but it's educated, smart pressure. He's not given the credit that he deserves when it comes down to his boxing brain. Such a clever man. With Eubank Jr., obviously 160 could favour him because obviously that's his weight division. Whereas Liam's more or less coming up. But as fighters get older, that when they move up at a certain time in the career, that gives them longevity. That can give them a little, it can prolong the career. It gives them a little bit of a boost because the making of the weight, not that he's going to come in out of shape, but the making of the weight to a weight that you've been at for years and years gets tougher and tougher and tougher, and you end up leaving little bits of yourself in camp. Whereas he'll be able to perhaps not kill himself, not struggle as much to make the weight, and spend more time on just becoming a better fighter and working on what he needs to work on. It's a great fight because you don't know which Eubank turns up. Is it the Eubank that's trying to be Roy Jones, which I'll be honest with you, it doesn't impress me, or is it the old Eubank who throws a lot of punches, fast, good uppercuts, combinations, teeth tough, and it makes for a great fight. And also, let's not forget, in my head, I think to myself, Liam's, knocking on now, and does the timing suit Junior? I think Liam's the better fighter, full stop. But you think, does the timing suit Junior? Because Liam's had a lot of tough fights, wear and tear, age. Then you forget Eubank Jr. is about 34 as well. He's not a young kid anymore. So you just don't. I don't know. It's a good fight. I would say Liam's a better fighter, and I lean towards Liam. But it wouldn't surprise me if Eubank's just that bit too fresh, and that bit too big, I generally don't know. It's a great fight, but if I had to put my money on it, I would go with the proven, and I'd go with Liam.
Dave, in the build up to this fight, Liam's spoken and reflected on their past sparring experiences, and it's been talked about how the body could be the key potentially to forcing a
Yeah,
potential stoppage there because we know how good the chin of Chris Eubank Jr. is. With that in mind, and especially as we mentioned, weights and Junior having to get back down to 160 once again, do you think that could be the key for Liam Smith heading into the fight?
I think it's a key anyway because Liam's a fantastic body puncher. Just even the shit that he does that's not the eye catching stuff, just the little digs and the little pokes. He's a great body puncher, and we all know that Eubank it has got a great chin. So yeah, I think that's a massive key. Regardless of weight and things like that. Listen, the weight's not a problem for Eubank. 160, he's good at it. He's not big enough for 168 for the top guys. 160, that's his weight, I think. So let's remember it's Liam that's coming up. But I think Eubank's a very good fighter himself. He's played, he's played himself great with all the controversy of his, all the episode with Connor, and now he's become that villain that no longer is a villain really. Hang on, I've got the ringing, mate.
You're still there for me, Dave.
Oh, am I still there? Right, okay, right. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think it's a great fight, and like I said, it's one that the fans are going to love. Fans are going to enjoy it, and it's going to it's going to get some eyes on the sport. It really is.
Dave, a week after Artem Beterbiev and Anthony Yarde share the ring in London.
Good fight.
Yeah, take it away.
Do you know what? That's a great fight. Beterbiev is an absolute beast, an absolute monster. But, and I'll get shit for saying this, right? Anthony Yarde can be a fast starter. He's a sharp shooter. He's heavy-handed. He can punch, no doubt. He's got skills. He's got ability. It wouldn't surprise me if Yarde went out there and got rid of Beterbiev. And I'm not saying he's a favourite, and I would always lean and say, yeah, Beterbiev. I could see him chewing him up and spitting him out, mid to late rounds. But I think because of the whole, sometimes with personalities or personalities around, it's whether somebody's with a certain promoter and they don't like that promoter, so they don't rate the fighters, they don't like the fighters. Same with trainers, I feel as though Yard doesn't get the credit for how good he is. I think he's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. Yes, if you look through his career, he's had some, he's had some soft touches in terms of his ability, and on the way up, you look at him when he's going to fight someone, he's going to fight somebody. But then, I know it was an old Kovalev, but he nearly beat Kovalev. And it was only because he was absolutely gassed. I think after that 8th round or something like that, he was absolutely gassed, and then he gets done. So don't look into the fact. Oh, I hear people say, "Oh, he got knocked out with a jab." He was fucked, mate. Nigel Benn got knocked out with a jab with Michael Watson. He was fucked. It's not a case of somebody's just gone out there and stuck a jab on him and knocked him out. But Yard's tools are very sharp. Very. He's got a great jab. He's got great power. He can punch with variety. And Beterbiev's getting old. We have to remember these fighters, just like, all the great fighters of the past, they get to a stage where they can't quite do the same sort of stuff. And it's not a case of, yeah, but look at him, he's doing this, he's doing that, and they're not showing signs of wear and tear, and then all of a sudden they go. Yes, they can all of a sudden go. But Beterbiev, he does get hurt early doors, or he can get hurt early doors. And then he adjusts, and then he fucked, and then he chews you up. But I just think that Yard's got the style and got the ability that he could spring a massive upset. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying he will. I don't see these people that are just writing him off straight off. I rate him, and let's not forget, as well as Tunney, he's got. Is he still working with James Cook?
Yes, as far as I'm aware.
That's a clever dude. He's been around for years and years and years, and he knows boxing. And obviously people don't want to give Tundi credit, but he's had Yarde from the start, and he's built this kid up. Not massive amateur experience, if I'm right there. And you look at what they've done and what they've achieved. That's good shit. It's a good fighter. So also, and Tundi got a lot of stick from the Kovalev fight, things like. Listen, as coaches, we all learn as we go along. We all make mistakes, and you learn, and it all becomes part of your experience and things like that. So you can't just judge people on one bad night or what where it went wrong. You look at the Arthur fights, right? The first one, fair enough, right? But look how he comes back from it. The kid's got talent and he's got ability. And it might just, again, another one of those where I'm saying where timing plays into your hands. Maybe, obviously, a peak, fresh Beterbiev, then I'd be talking different. But he's not a peak, fresh Beterbiev. I still say Beterbiev is the favourite, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
Obviously, there's a lot of talk about Callum Smith being in line to face the winner of that fight, Dave. So with that in mind, would you rather see that all-domestic clash, Callum Smith and Anthony Yarde, or two big, heavy-handed hitters in Artur Beterbiev and Callum Smith share the ring?
Because it's Brits, I'm always going to say I want to see two Brits. That's just how it is. But I'm a massive fan of Beterbiev as well, and so that'd be a good fight. I'll tell the fight that I want to see, if you want me to be honest, is Beterbiev versus Bivol. That's the fight that I really want to see if you're going to talk about that division. Obviously, from a British point of view, then any of the guys, Callum Smith, Yarde, whatever. If they come up against them, then yeah, I want them to win. But yeah, it's. Listen, Callum Smith getting us the Yarde. That'd be a great fight. That'd be an absolutely belting fight. Brilliant, and great for the British sport.
100%, but I do think everybody would agree they'd love to see the undisputed between Beterbiev and Bivol. Yeah. But away from that one, Dave, and again, just get your thoughts on a couple of the topics. Anthony Joshua, once again, doing the rounds out in the States, looking for a new trainer, getting a feel for who he kind of connects with. What are your thoughts on him taking that approach, Dave? He did it before the Usyk rematch, and now he's done it again in the immediate fight after. I've asked quite a number of people this, and I want to ask yourself, at this stage of Anthony's career, is that a worrying thing that he's still not found somewhere where he's settled after leaving Rob McCracken, or is it a clever move? What do you make of it as an outsider looking in?
It's difficult saying it because we can all have those opinions on what he should and shouldn't be doing, but he's, for the majority of his career, the decisions have been right because you look at his career, look at what he's achieved. Obviously, for whatever's gone on behind closed doors, he didn't feel comfortable with Garcia. I've always said a fighter has to feel comfortable with the coach that he's got. Whatever we think on the outside, the fighter's got to be comfortable. It's the fighter that goes in there and fights. The fighter that's got to listen to the instructions, got to come back to the corner at the end of each round, trust the coach, and together they can figure out a way to win the fight. If that trust and that connection isn't there, it doesn't matter how great the coach is, it doesn't work. So he's got to find what's best for him. But at this, like you say, at this stage of his career, it is a worry because you're not AJ. You're not going to come back with some 8-rounder against some journeyman. You're kind of going to be coming in deep end. And again, you've got to get used to this new coach, whoever he brings on. Whoever he brings on has got to understand Anthony Joshua, the man, and his mentality. In order to get the best out of him, he's got to get that. Because this where he's coming up to fight and he's asking a million people's opinions on how would they fight him and how do I go about doing this. That can't happen. That's where's the confidence in the work that you've been doing all these weeks, months. You know, you can't be doing that. So you've got to have the full confidence. You know, it's difficult, and who we should go with, I don't know. But this search in America and things like that, just because these fighters work great with other fighters doesn't mean that it's going to work with you. You know, they've got different mentalities, they've got different assets, they've got different weaknesses. You know, if you're working with a guy, you can have your hands up and walking forward and taking shots on gloves coming forward. Have you got that same sturdiness and same ability to absorb those kind of shots and not get caught out? You can't have him overthinking things too much when he's in there, because then it's going to be stopping him from using his assets. You know, it's a difficult situation, but when you're on the outside, you don't know enough information on what's going on in there. And also, is it him? Is it a case that he doesn't want to do certain things? He doesn't want to do his runs. He doesn't want to do his sprints or whatever. I don't know. I just don't know. But again, it goes down to if he doesn't trust what he's being told what to do, then it doesn't work, because then he ain't going to want to do it.
It's an interesting debate, Dave. And on that note, it's difficult because you look at his succession of coaches. So you obviously have Rob McCracken, then they're bringing Angel Fernandez and Joby Clayton to work in that setup. Leaves Rob, keeps Angel, brings in Robert Garcia. Now he's in between bringing in Robert Garcia. He'd been out to the States once, comes back, has Robert, goes away again. Who do you think would be a good matchup for him? Because I've had all sorts of names thrown at me when I've asked this question. For you, who do you think would be somebody who can get the best out of AJ?
I genuinely don't know, because something happened along the way with him and Robert McCracken where he lost the confidence or the trust to be able to what Rob asked him to do to stop doing. So that's why he looked for somewhere else to come on in. But then that's not satisfied him. And then he's looked for somebody else, and it's a different switch up to a different style to how he's been coached to go and work with Robert Garcia. Now, that's not worked. So what does he do? Does he go to if he goes to a Virgil, that's going to be too much information for him, because I don't think that you can give him the complexities that Virgil is going to bring. So even though he's a great coach, one of best out there, just this is what I'm saying is it doesn't matter who's the best coaches out there if that ain't going to fit with him. You know, he's looking over at America for all these coaches and things like that. I don't know. Listen, Shane McGuigan. Well, if you're going to try these coaches, right? Shane McGuigan's not a bad coach, is he? He knows how to train punches. You know, I'm not saying that's the perfect fit. I'm not saying that, but you've got coach over here. Adam Boo's worked with David A. He didn't do too bad with David A. But again, it's would he be able to absorb that information that they're giving him and just go with it, or and also what is there going to be another coach? Is there going to be another man in background? There's all them sort of things where you've got to, and if you've got about 6 different people's opinions on what session you've just done tonight, and 5 of them are saying, "Oh, that was a great session," and one of them saying, "Oh, I'm not so sure about that." Does that then start in his head thinking, "Oh, well, actually, it might not be. Oh, no, yeah, right." I don't know, because I'm on the outside and I don't know what's going off in his camps and things like that. But ultimately, like I said, there are good coaches in this country. They might not shout and make a lot of noise about it as much, but there are good coaches because they're turning out good fighters. Obviously, there's great coaches in America, but I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. you have to be close to AJ to perhaps know who would fit with him better, and I'm not, so it's difficult to say.
Dave, final one, and we've only got 4 minutes left till this time's out. If we see Fury Usyk next, it seems like we will most likely. Um, a lot of people obviously favouring Tyson, and a lot of people said to me they feel that he'll just be able to use his size to his advantage, something that AJ was unable to do. But how do you rate Alexander Usyk's chances in that fight? Is it as simple as just picking Fury, or?
I don't think it's as simple as that. Listen, I rate Usyk. I think he's a great fighter. He's got a great brain. He's got great boxing ability. His feet are outstanding. Um, but I do understand what everyone's saying, where it's the size. You've got a man that's just abnormal. You know, what is he, 6'9", something like that. But he's 6'9", he's long, but he knows how to use his height, his reach. He knows how to lean on and use his weight when it comes into those clinches. You know, he gets caught with one shot. He knows how to make sure you don't get caught, you don't catch him with the next shot. And while ever you're the man that's reaching to try and get in and to get your shots off, it can be frustrating, and you can walk onto shots that they're just little clipping shots that can just, from a bigger man that's a lot heavier, a lot that size, can just start slowing you down a little bit, and then it stops you from using your attributes. And I can see that the size would be the difference. I think if they're both the same size, I'd pick Usyk. If they're both roughly the same size, or if Fury was just a 6'4", 6'3" heavyweight, I would pick Usyk, but he's not, and he's great because he knows how to use his attributes. And his attributes, he can box either southpaw or orthodox, and keep that same range, and have you falling in and have you falling short, and your timing just not being quite right. I think it's a very difficult job for Usyk. I don't think it'll be the best fight to watch in terms of, fans wanting to see drama and action. But from my point of view, I can't wait to see how it unfolds, because I think it's going to be such an intelligent fight. A great chess match. I think it's going to be a really good fight in those sort of terms.
All right, Dave, we'll leave it there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day and what's left of 2022. I hope it's an enjoyable period ahead of a busy 2023. Thank you for speaking to me and ID Boxing.
Cheers, mate. Thanks. I just want to say good luck to everybody out there for 2023. I hope you have a good year.